15 horrific fast food stories that are downright traumatizing. We've all heard of the famous fried rat from the horrifying KFC story. Maybe you read it online, or maybe you heard it from a friend of yours. Whichever the case, after you read the next 15 horror stories, you'll be thinking that the rat really wasn't all that bad. I'm sure that at some point in your life, you have encountered something icky in your food. Sometimes it can be as simple as a bug in your salad, and other times, it can be much worse. No one likes to take a bite out of their meal to then find a half-eaten insect or gooey substance, yet it happens all of the time. If you have ever worked in a kitchen, then you are no stranger to the horrors that go on behind the scenes. Even though your food looks immaculate, there can be spit, saliva, dandruff, or just about anything that stems from the human body. Still, what we don't know can't hurt us, and laziness often makes us go back to fast food restaurants despite the warnings of others. Having someone handle your food before you eat it can have its perks and downfalls. On one hand, you don't have to cook or clean up, yet on the other hand there's a finger missing and it's in your sandwich. Being nice to the minimum wage workers that make your food is the first step in making sure your meal won't be tampered with, but sometimes mistakes happen, and you end up eating what you paid for. 15. Arby's human sandwich. A 14-year-old boy by the name of Ryan Hart bit off a little more than he could chew at an Arby's restaurant in Michigan back in 2012. Hart, who was about to take the last couple bites of his delicious Arby's sandwich, was suddenly thrown off when he tasted something rubbery. The teenage boy immediately spat out the contents in his mouth and was horrified to find the back of a finger. The finger, which extended beyond the first knuckle, seemed to point at Hart in accusation. "You did this to me," said the finger. Hart, who is obviously traumatized by the experience, tells reporters that he was about to puke and that it was just nasty. Arby's restaurant apologized for the incident, yet did not temporarily close down the restaurant to sanitize the area and continue to serve food to the busy restaurant. As for Mr. Finger, no one has come forward to claim him, and so he has been forced to get a part-time job at Subway's. 14. McCockroach. McDonald's is just the greatest, wouldn't you agree? The burgers are bouncy, the fries are one of a kind, and there is always a little mystery behind every single bite. Yet, for some reason, a postal worker named Joshua Camilleri has sworn to never eat McDonald's again. Isn't that weird? He must be allergic or something. Too bad for him. One day, while Camilleri was working, he decided to stop at the local McDonald's in Queensland, Australia for a little bite to eat. Mid-burger, he noticed something black and crunchy in the middle of his patty, and to his dismay, found half a cockroach. "I threw up pretty much straight away. I went to the bathroom and threw up. It's disgusting," said the 37-year-old postal worker. After his shift, he returned to the McDonald's with the burger as proof. The branch reimbursed him for his troubles, but would only allow an investigation if Camilleri returned the burger, which he refused to do. Instead, he posted the picture on his Facebook page, and then ate the other half. 13. Coffee, 2 creams, 1 mouse. You know that feeling you get when you take your first sip of coffee in the morning? Well, when it comes to Canadian Ron Moray, he got to experience a different type of coffee-related feeling: betrayal. Moray was betrayed by his McDonald's morning coffee, and now, he will never trust it again. "I always take the lid off to get my last sip of coffee. And when I took the lid off, there was a little bit of a surprise in my coffee cup. It was a dead mouse," said Moray while being interviewed by CBC. Although the man seemed a little too happy to have found a dead mouse in his coffee, he did, however, mention that the thought of drinking an entire cup of coffee with a mouse in it made him feel a little queasy. As for the mouse, Moray gave it to his cousin Bubbles, who thought it would be the perfect gift for his cats back at the trailer park. 12. Burger King's Condom Burger. Miguel Heartless learned the hard way that asking for special treatment at a fast food restaurant can only end badly. Back in 2007, Heartless decided to stop by Burger King to pick himself up a tasty Southwestern Whopper. Now, Heartless was no newbie when it came to ordering this burger. He had done it many times before. He always asked the cashier to hold the onions and add jalapenos peppers to his order, but this time, she wasn't having it. She told him that they had never carried jalapeno peppers. Frustrated, Heartless accepted her false fact and waited for his order. Minutes later, when his meal was ready, the cashier read back his order to him, and Heartless was peeved to find out they got it wrong. He sent it back and waited for a new Whopper to be made. When Heartless arrived to his home and bit into his burger, he found an unwrapped condom. When Heartless returned to Burger King to complain, he was laughed at by the manager. Needless to say, the incident was taken to court. 11. KFC's deep fried chicken brain. Ibrahim Longo and his friend Laura Canning shared an experience that made them never want to go anywhere near a KFC, ever again. One day, while on lunch break, the pair decided to go to KFC and split a gladiator box meal. Canning ate the filet burger, while Longo ate the 2 deep-fried chicken pieces. Luckily for Longo, he has a habit of tearing the chicken off with his fingers, before popping it into his mouth, because what he saw after he pried open the piece of meat sent shivers down his spine. Under the deep-fried surface appeared to be a chicken brain. Longo freaked out, and immediately left the restaurant, unable to touch the piece of chicken. Longo took a picture of the brain and sent an online complaint. KFC then explained that the brain was in fact a chicken kidney, and that they were terribly sorry for the incident. They offered him free coupons, but Longo stated that he would never, ever eat there again. 10. Aldi pasta toenail sauce. If you think finding a hair in your food is bad, imagine finding a huge toenail in your spaghetti. Back in 2012, Tracy Arnold was horrified to find out that her succulent homemade dish was tainted by a ghastly, yellow toenail. It was the most disgusting thing I have ever found in my food in my life. It was huge, it looked like it had been cut, said the 46-year-old mother. Arnold, who is a regular at the Aldi store, had purchased a packet of minced beef and a can of tomato sauce to make her homemade bolognese sauce that very morning. When she arrived to the store, with the vile toenail, she was infuriated to find out that she would not be taken seriously. She demanded for a full refund on her bill and requested that all items be recalled for further investigation. Can you believe that? She doesn't even make her own tomato sauce, yet she calls it homemade. What a liar. 9. An ice cream cone with 2 poops. Being served human feces is enough to make someone reconsider their life choices. It is the ultimate insult and not one that should be taken lightly. One night, single mother Patricia Hill decided to bring her 4 children to get some frozen treats at a local ice cream stand. Hill explained that the lines were very long and that she had to wait about 20 minutes to be served, which basically turned her into a monster. She began yelling at the staff, her own children, and even the manager. Hill says that after she placed her order, it took an additional 10 minutes for her to be served. Annoyed, she took her 4 ice cream sundaes, 1 double scoop of chocolate ice cream, and proceeded to sit down with her children. I finished the top part of the chocolate, half of the second scoop, and when I got to the ice cream stuffed in the cone, I knew something wasn't right, Hill explained. She immediately became ill and burst into tears. Hill now understands that she waited an additional 10 minutes for someone to take a crap in her ice cream cone. 8. Applebee's Bloody Asian Salad. If you go to Applebee's and order a salad, you're basically asking for something to go wrong. You should always stick with fries. They never lie or hide who they really are. One night, the Martin family decided to go out for a nice little supper at an Applebee's in Paso Robles. Unfortunately, their experience was not a happy one. Pregnant Kathleen Martin, her husband, and their child ended up leaving the restaurant in disgust after Kathleen found what happened to be a fingerdip in her Asian chicken salad. After complaining about the human flesh, the manager confirmed that the chef had in fact cut off the tip of his finger. While the chef ran off to stop the bleeding, a server unknowingly came and delivered the salad, before the chef had a chance to inform anyone of the incident. Luckily, the soon-to-be mother of 2 caught sight of the flesh before she ingested it. If she had not, she might have given birth to the Hannibal's long-lost child. 7. Bony Burger. Yet another McDonald's horror story, and still most of you will crave a Big Mac after reading this article thanks to all the McCrack they put in their food. Back in 2008, a woman named Millicent Brown filed a lawsuit against McDonald's and Walmart after receiving a double cheeseburger that contained some unwanted bone. The incident occurred in Chicago at a McDonald's situated inside of a Walmart. After biting into the burger, Brown shattered some teeth and needed extensive dental surgery to repair the damage. The procedures included a root canal, extraction, bone graft, flipper, implant, and a post and crown. Now, that must have been one hell of a bite, or the biggest piece of bone in the world. Nonetheless, Brown decided to sue for over $50,000 and is willing to put up a fight. Now, if Brown fights as hard as she bites, she will no doubt win her lawsuit and more. 6. Silver Milky Way. Sue Calhoun and her husband were excited to be taking a road trip to Dallas on New Year's Day back in 2010, especially since they were on their way to pick up their brand new tractor. The couple, who felt as though they deserved a little treat, decided to stop by the store and buy some chocolate bars for their long drive. Calhoun picked herself up a nice Milky Way, and took a huge bite, which was absolutely delicious. However, her love for chocolate took a weird turn the second she took her second bite. At first, She believed that there was a peanut in her chocolate bar, but she spat it out to examine it a little closer. When she saw that it was a tooth, she immediately checked her mouth to see if she had miraculously lost one, and she hadn't. Sick to her stomach, Calhoun came to terms with the fact that a human tooth had been baked into her Milky Way. After the incident, Calhoun stated that she has lost her sweet tooth, and well, she isn't the only one. 5. Pizza with a side of Band-Aid. The day that pizza betrays you is the day that you lose all faith in humanity. Sadly, Ken Weekserza found himself in the worst situation ever, unhappy while holding a piece of pizza. When Weekserza ordered himself a large supreme pizza topped with pepperoni, ham, and green peppers from Pizza Hut, he did not recall asking for an extra side of Band-Aid. Yet, this is what was delivered to his house. Now, imagine the excitement you feel when you see the pizza delivery man walking up your driveway and replace it with the dread of biting into a 3-inch blue Band-Aid with blood on it. It's enough to make you want to cry. What is worse is that Weekserza's complaint was not taken seriously by the Pizza Hut staff, and eventually, they even stopped answering his calls on the matter. Weekserza had no choice but to take it to the media and see where his story would go from there. 4. Tongue-eating tuna. Finding out that your tuna can contains anything but tuna can be a very frightening ordeal, especially when it appears to contain an alien-looking entity. 1 year ago, Zoe Butler, a British mother, was preparing supper for her family when she noticed an odd-looking purple creature in her princess tuna can. Horrified, she poked at the peculiar glob and was flabbergasted to find out that it had a pair of eyes. Butler received word from expert Stuart Hine that the freaky-looking creature was in fact a Cymothoa exigua, which in other words, translates to a tongue-eating parasite. Now this parasite is not harmful to humans, but it is still extremely frightening to come in contact with. Traditionally, the Cymothoa exigua enters itself into a fish's gills, and attaches to its tongue. Butler, who has been in contact with the Princess Company, has stated that she does not want any compensation, she simply wishes that this incident does not happen to somebody else. 3. Taco Bell's mystery meat. In 2011, Taco Bell faced an interesting lawsuit after failing to meet the minimum requirements set by the U.S. Department of Agriculture. This lawsuit revealed that Taco Bell's meat was in fact only 35% real meat. If this does not make you cringe and swear off Taco Bell for good, then I don't know what will. You cannot be saved. The lawsuit was filed by Amanda Obney, a California resident, who cannot stand the fact that Taco Bell advertises their meat as seasoned ground beef, when in reality, more than half of it is simply filler. Want to know what makes up the other 65%? Well, you're in luck. Taco Bell's meat is a mixture of water, wheat oats, soy lecithin, maltodextrin, anti-dusting agents, and modified cornstarch. Now doesn't that just sound scrumptious? Obney is pushing for Taco Bell to change its signs from seasoned ground beef to mixed meat. 2. Maggots. On August 26th of this year, a woman named Madison Stevens experienced one of the creepiest scenarios in the fast food world: maggots. Stevens decided to treat her 15-month-old son to a nice little burger from McDonald's and also purchased one for herself. As Stevens was about to take her first big bite, she noticed a little white worm fall out of her burger and immediately snatched the burger out of her son's hands. Both her and her son's burgers were swarming with tiny white worms. If I hadn't seen that worm, my son would have eaten that, because it was already on top of his sandwich. That's how close he came to eating it, said the young mother. When she called the Kentucky branch to complain, Stevens was rewarded with a $10 McDonald's gift card, which she took as an insult. To make matters worse, Stevens was not the only person to find maggots in their burger, and a similar incident was also reported the same day. 1. Condom chowder. Back in 2002, a woman named Lila Sultan and 3 friends decided to go eat supper at McCormick and Schmick Seafood Restaurant. The 4 women, who had obviously been there before, all chose to order the same meal, but little did they know, they had just entered a game of clam chowder Russian roulette. All of a sudden, Sultan was startled to find something rubbery getting stuck to her tooth. She immediately knew that something wasn't right. She pulled out the object, only to realize that she had been chewing on an unwrapped condom. Sultan got up, ran to the washroom, and was instantly sick for minutes on end. The 4 friends left the restaurant and called their lawyers, intent on a lawsuit. However, the restaurant owner and the 4 women eventually came to an agreement and the lawsuit was dropped. In return, the restaurant owner sued the company that supplied his restaurant's clams, and that was that.